I thought you had some really good information. I think the one thing to work on is, what do you do when you forget? I actually thought this is really creative. I think it's a really good idea, and I've heard people do that where it's just like, here's my point 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that works. But maybe do it in not quite such an obvious way, or when you couldn't remember what your point number 2 was overall, maybe just walk without point 1, make that, internalize that more. Number 1 was this, therefore number 2 must be that. But very creative, just maybe a little bit less obvious on.
Who else?
Oh, I had a very specific one that I completely enjoyed. When you had this thing about when you were talking about this curve that was going up, like ooh, that was excellent. That was I was if I could ask him to do it one more time.
Watch on the video.
I wrote that down too. Zoom wah is what I wrote down. Zoom wah. Anyone else? One I noticed when you do the losing, you apologize for losing your place, and that's always the one. Is you can apologize if the air conditioning comes on or something, but I don't know. Try not to apologize for losing your place if you don't think we need it. And I think in this case we didn't need to hear an apology. You could have just moved on. We didn't know what you were going to say anyway, so we probably wouldn't have known that you had missed it. So you could have even made a joke about it, like with the losing the arm or something like that, so that we didn't feel nervous with you, so that you just were able to smoothly move past the point. Let's see, anyone else come up with another one? I think we have a minute or two. All right, see, I knew someone would. Here we go, Jessica.
Well, another thing to think about is just the level of investors in the audience, and maybe getting a better feel for the room. How many of you currently pay attention to what's in your 401k? To kind of, and then you could make, then you can address that. And I think that you're at this stage, you're so knowledgeable. I think that based on wherever the audience is, you can just make comments and kind of go with the flow. And if it's a less seasoned audience, then you can talk maybe a little bit more about our concerns and thinking long term. And then if you have a more seasoned audience, then you could play up a lot more with the resources and the groups and things like that you're doing.
One last one? All right, see, here we go.
So, one thing that I found effective was when you were explaining dollar cost averaging, Kurt, you talked about this bad example of when someone bought something, sold here and bought again. If you could have used a counter example to show how maybe you did that, hopefully you did, that you kept your cool and did not sell off everything when the world was crashing, and you maintained it, and at the end of it you actually come out pretty well. Or someone else but that would have given us a lot of confidence as maybe naive investors that it does work, and look at your long-term goal, and actually would have supported 2 of your key points out of 3, which is dollar cost averaging, which is consistent investing, and also taking the long-term view, which most people is, that's where most people lose money. So I think that would have been really useful to give us the confidence, because everyone can cite bad examples, but you really wanted us to be convinced that this was a good way to go about investing. I think that would have had a more positive view.
Hopefully all of us will look at our dollar cost average investing at the end of this meeting, yeah?
Kurt, your first story was one long sentence connected to the ants. And the police officer said, and the stockbroker said, and the police officer and the stockbroker said, so pause, stop, and think of different transition words. The and conjunction is just misplaced in that, and doesn't let you take a breath.
Kurt was 8:51, and I didn't stop him because I thought he was going to end with his humorous story, so I really wanted him to get to that ending, but the ending story took 2 minutes and 20 seconds. So in the 30-second stoppage of confusing where you were or whatever didn't help either, so that's what contributed there.